Joining us now from Ottawa with more on the marijuana task force is former Toronto Police Chief. He's the MP and current Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Justice, Bill Blair. Mr. Blair, thanks for your time this afternoon. Nice to see you here. So let's talk a little more about this task force now, because municipalities and provinces say they would like a little more direction from the government in this sort of interim period before you actually bring in any legislation. So is there anything more you can do for them before that bill becomes available in April?
Well, look, Nick, let me tell you that we consulted with the provinces and territories in the establishment of our task force, and we feel very fortunate that we've got 9 extraordinary Canadians with remarkable backgrounds and expertise in the areas of public health, problematic substance use, criminal justice, and public safety. And we think we've got an extraordinary panel of experts who now can go across Canada and consult with others and to get the type of evidence and good public policy based on evidence that we need in order to bring forward an effective and comprehensive regulatory regime. Our government's intent to legalize and regulate marijuana is predicated on that research, and this task force is going to be invaluable to us. And the task force will also be working with our provincial and territorial partners. This is an important dialogue that has to take place from coast to coast to coast, and the task force will be a very important and integral part of the government's work to develop good regulations. The task force will be reporting, by the way, in November, and we've made a commitment today that their report will be made public. And so we want to make sure that this is a process accessible to Canadians and transparent to Canadians. We really believe that good public policy comes from the best evidence and the best advice of experts, and that's what we've kicked off today. And moving forward, I'm very confident this is the right way.
Okay, so it sounds like the public policy will be there, but in the interim, if the government's intent, as you just said, is to legalize marijuana, should it perhaps be decriminalized at this point? Because, you know, in municipalities and cities like Toronto, you know, they're cracking down on pot shops, and the police and municipalities, they still say they're looking for guidance. So the task force sounds great, but what about right now?
And Nick, let me be very clear. It's our government's intent to protect our kids, protect our communities, take profits away from organized crime, and address the health concerns of Canadians by legalizing and regulating marijuana. And the work of the task force and the work of the government is to put that comprehensive, effective regulatory framework in place. And in the interim, the cannabis is controlled in Canada through the existing legislation. I would urge all Canadians to obey the law. And to recognize that, you know, they can get themselves in some legal jeopardy if they break the law. And so I want to encourage them to obey the law, and at the same time, we want to engage them in a broad consultation so that we can bring in a regulatory framework that works well for all Canadians, helps us keep our kids safe, help us keep our communities safe, and help us protect the health of Canadians.
All right, let me ask you also, Mr. Blair, as the former, you know, chief of police, where you were, your job and your role as a police officer was tasked on sort of enforcing laws because, as you mentioned, it is still a legal drug. Now you're in the sort of counterintuitive position of being the point person for the government on the legalization of marijuana. I just wonder, you personally, how is this sort of mentally, intellectually for you when you're dealing with legalize something you spent your whole career cracking down on?
Nick, let me be really clear. There's nothing counterintuitive this. I have spent my entire career protecting kids and keeping communities safe. That was my responsibility. And yes, we upheld the law as part of that important work, but the primary job was to keep our kids and our communities safe. And I believe that the government's plan to regulate and restrict marijuana and through legalization, accompanied by a strict regulatory framework, we can do a much better job. Quite frankly, the existing system is not doing a good job of protecting our kids. We have the highest rate of marijuana usage among young people of any country in the world. It's not doing a good job of keeping the insidious influence of organized crime out of marijuana. They profit in the billions from this. And we are not doing a good job of assuring the health of Canadians. We can do better. And I am convinced, and this is entirely consistent with my life's work of protecting kids and protecting communities, we can do a better job of keeping our kids safe and our communities safe through legalization and regulation.
All right, that is MP Bill Blair. He is the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Justice. He joined us now live, or he joined us from Ottawa. Thanks for your time this afternoon. Appreciate it.